The library I was visiting lay about 15 minutes from the hotel by mobility. It stood at the edge of an upscale residential district facing a large park, set quietly among the surrounding houses. At a glance, it did not look like a library. It looked like a well-kept home. It may once have been one. The front garden was carefully tended. Red and white flowers edged the lawn. I had time before my appointment, so I went inside to look around. A simple guide was posted by the entrance. The first floor was a reading room. The second held a cafe, a gallery, and a virtual experience facility. The library also kept old books made of plant-based paper. They were rare and could only be viewed on site with a reservation. In the reading room were reproductions of those past publications, remade with modern techniques. Printed letters on paper, bound covers. Now that most text was read on terminals, even this felt unusual. Shelves lined the walls in neat rows. History, classical literature, thick collected works resting in silence. At the center stood a large round table. Elderly men and women sat around it, reading. Across the entrance was a smaller room. Shoes were removed at the door, and the floor was covered with soft carpet. Several parents sat with preschool children, opening picture books with large letters. Low cushions were scattered around. The books were wrapped in vinyl to protect them. When it was time, I returned to reception. I was told the director was waiting in her office at the back of the second floor. I took the stairs. The handrail was carved with fine detail. Years of touch had rounded its edges and given it a soft shine. It carried traces of daily life. This place must once have been a home. Narrow corridors and potted plants near the entrance reinforced that feeling. The cafe and gallery doors were closed, marked preparing. At the end of the hall, the last door read director's office. I knocked. A quiet voice answered, "Please come in." The director was a small, middle-aged woman. Her name was Asai. She made coffee. After greetings, we slipped easily into small talk. The virtual room had been installed 2 years earlier. This was the first on-site maintenance since then. When I asked about usage, she smiled, a little troubled. There are only 2 full-time staff, including me. The front desk is part-time. No one can handle detailed settings. So we just keep using the program your company made for us at installation. Sometimes errors occurred, she said. But clearing the logs and restarting usually solved them. People say we should make a new program, she added. But that means asking again. And the cost. It was true. Custom programs required time and budget. If we were to add something, she asked, what would be good? Are there examples from other libraries? I shook my head. This is my first time. Why was it introduced here in the first place? She had become director only last year and did not know the full background. The place had once been a private archive, open to the public only on limited days. The second floor had been the owner's residence. After the owner's death, the building was renovated and opened to the public. The virtual room was added then. Libraries themselves are rare now, she said. Places to read paper books. I hear they used to be built in every district. Public funding now supported this one. Its purpose was not only preservation, but education and tourism. There were 3 virtual programs. One simulated the making of paper books. One recreated traditional life on Dalzini. The third reproduced the world of a classical literary work of Dalzini. When I heard the title, I remembered it. I had read it for a class when I was a student. I said so, and Asai nodded with pleasure. She was a devoted reader of the author and had read everything. I did not say that I remembered almost none of it. It was about a young man raised in a closed community in the forest, who left for the city because of family trouble. The city then might have been small by today's standards. Even today, traditions still seemed close in Dalzini. I told her I would consider a new proposal and cost estimate. The virtual room was shut down for maintenance today, so I could work at my own pace. In the equipment room, I began the upgrade. The system had barely been touched in 2 years. Dust lay thick. I replaced parts, untangled cables, cleaned them. I cleared logs and temporary files. An upgrade, in practice, felt like cleaning. After the program began running, Asai came to check on it. I told her it would take about 2 hours. She invited me to lunch at the cafe. After the strange food at the hotel the night before, I half expected something unusual, but it was just a chicken sandwich and soup. Over lunch, she told me she had once worked in digital publishing, mostly text. A niche now, in a world of images and sound, but with devoted readers. In Dalzini, language education mattered. People learned old languages alongside the common tongue. Old literature and music still felt close. I thought of the live music at the hotel. Sometimes what you imagine in your head from reading feels more real than what you see with your eyes. She said. The software upgrade finished. As a test, we launched the virtual program based on that old novel. Asai asked if the setting, now fixed to clear daytime weather, could be synced with real conditions. That was easy. I changed it, and we entered together. Lockers lined the antechamber. We put on goggles and wristbands. Authentication finished. The door opened. A narrow corridor lit only at our feet stretched ahead. Behind us, the door closed. Darkness. After a few seconds, the view slowly opened. A forest. Fine rain fell like mist. The sky hung low and grey. I thought, briefly, that it had been sunny when I left the hotel, and wondered if I had made a mistake in configuration. It just started raining, Asai said. It's cloudy, so it's hard to tell, but it seems to be daytime. Trees stood close together. The path was narrow, like an animal trail. Unlike a park, the air felt cold on the skin. Had the forest in the novel been like this? It did not feel like a place where people could live. If we go a little farther, we'll reach the protagonist's house, she said. Shall we? We walked on. Somewhere a bird called unseen. Leaves rustled now and then. An animal, perhaps. The path widened. It bore signs of human touch. Through the trees, a small house with a red roof came into view. A log bench stood in front. Windows and door were closed. It was silent. Do the characters ever appear? I asked. She shook her head. That would be complicated. It might break the sense of the world. But you can go inside. I pushed the metal doorknob. It was unlocked. Inside was a living room with simple furniture. It was modelled on the author's childhood home. Beyond it were a sitting room and kitchen. Across a hallway, a bedroom and a child's room. On the desk in the child's room lay an open notebook. A diary, perhaps. I recalled that a diary held a particular significance in the novel, though I could not remember how. The rain grew heavier. Water traced lines down the window. At the back of the child's room was another door. I opened it. A small room, like a closet. As I moved to close the door, I noticed music coming from inside. I stepped in. The only light came from a small window high above. It was dim. I could not find the source. I had heard the melody the night before at the hotel, but this voice was different. An old woman's voice. Low. Hoarse. Slow. Beneath the window stood a wooden cabinet. On it sat a glass vase. A single white flower. It looked like the one I always saw in my home virtual system. Not similar. The same flower. Beside it lay a small piece of metal, about 5 centimeters long. Letters were engraved on it. One end was pointed, with fine ridges. As I reached out, Asai called my name. I returned to the child's room. She stood in the hallway. I heard music. I tried to lead her back, but the small door was gone. Music? She tilted her head. Perhaps I was mistaken, I said. We ended the test and returned to the office. As we parted, Asai handed me a thin book, a poetry collection by the author whose world we had seen. Left over from an event, she said. She was glad that someone from another planet would read Dalzini's classics. On the way back to the hotel, I turned the pages. I could not read the old text, so I translated the table of contents. Short titles. Bird, beginning. I would read it later. Thin, monochrome illustrations appeared here and there. One caught my eye. It looked like the small metal piece I had seen. I translated the title of the poem beside it. Key. I had heard that physical metal keys of this shape were once used to lock doors. I read on. You are in the locked room. A system voice from the vehicle said I had arrived. I put the book back into my bag.